Everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am Madhav Dapke, one of the founding directors of Garje Marathi Global, and I welcome all of you to Garje Marathi Select Talk, the new season, new editions. This is the series we have been running where industry leaders meet other industry leaders, and the entire conversation happens between SMEs, between the industries, how they interact with each other, how industries collaborate with each other. And today it's my pleasure to welcome all of you to the season where we are going to talk about supply chain as an industry and AI as yet another industry which collaborates to make smarter and smarter supply chain. I am going to be requesting and welcoming Shri Manoj Samle, who is going to be the navigator for this panel conversation. And in turn, he will be talking to all of you. He will be introducing the panel members, and he is going to be the captain today for this conversation. So, Manojji, welcome. And I really express my gratitude towards this very senior panel members. And over to you, Manojji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madhavji. Thank you for the Select Talk series, and thank you, everybody. Welcome, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Today's topic is smart supply chains, applying AI where it truly counts. As we know, supply chain is the backbone of the world. Supply chain keeps the world humming, right? But today, as we know, supply chain is under a lot of distress. There is a disruption, there is a price increase, suppliers are not able to ship, people are complaining about availability. Companies are struggling to keep the supplies and the demand flowing. Companies are trying to keep the profits intact. At the same time, they are trying to make sure that their manufacturing base, their suppliers base, their vendor base is diversified. So that means running supply chains across the globe. At the same time, there is a plethora of compliance. When you do a business across the world, different industries, different regions, different countries, it's a massive bureaucracy and massive infrastructure. And our panelists deal with this every day. So this is going to be a very exciting and very crucial topic that we have selected from day one. On the other side, there is AI. And who hasn't heard about AI lately, right? So AI has made a lot of progresses in last few years. It has truly made gains. It has truly made benefits. At the same time, most of the people also hear some distressing news about AI, AI gone wrong, or AI guessing something, or AI taking jobs. So what's the truth? What we want to do today in expert panel is we want to bring four experts from supply chain, get their perspective, and we selectively want to discuss where AI can really make a benefit, where it can make benefit, how it is to be applied, and how it's to be taken in the industry as a true companion, not as a hype, not as a silver bullet, not as a disaster. So we have four industry panelists, and you'll be impressed to hear that they have a century of experience amongst them. So today we have Vishakha Pandit, we have Rahul Bagade, we have Sanjay Desai, and we have Dr. Manoj Kulkarni. And I'm requesting them to introduce themselves to them for the audience. Let me start with Vishakha ji. Please go ahead yourself.
Thank you, Manoj, for the welcome for this episode of GMG Selector. And it's pleasure to be part of this episode. Now, coming back to my introduction, I am a polymer engineer by profession and working in the polymer industry in FRP and master batches broadly for last 30 years. Out of those 30 years, for 20 years, I am in Dubai working with a company called Inner Plastics, which is a leading master batch company in the region. And I was leading the raw material procurement department, where I had hands-on experience on technical matters as well as how the supply chain works on really on the ground. And recently I've moved out and now I'm working as a freelance consultant, where I think I can leverage my experience both in polymer and in supply chain to assess companies for their inefficiencies or gaps wherever they can improve and make an impact in that field. Thank you.
Thank you, Vishakha ji. Rahul ji, you're next.
Thank you, Manoj. I'm Rahul Bagade. I spent last 26 years in supply chain, pretty much working in different facets of supply chain, right from sourcing, procurement, manufacturing, IBP, transformation, and last 10 years has been focused on distribution and logistics. In terms of the geographies, I spent 7 years in India, less than 1 year in US, and about 18 years in China now. I worked in different kinds of supply chain, including industrial supply chain, even startup supply chains. The last decade has been the technology supply chain, and most recently in the fresh produce supply chain. I'm based in Shanghai. I head what we call the in-market supply chain for Zespri International, which is the New Zealand-based kiwi fruit grower. I'm responsible for 4 regions, including North America, Europe, APAC, and Greater China. Thank you, and looking forward to the interaction.
Thank you, Rahul ji. Sanjay ji, you're next.
Namaskar. Thank you, Rahul ji. Thank you, Manoj ji. My name is Sanjay Desai, a commercial supply chain professional running my own advisory consulting practice for the last 6 years based out of Singapore. Prior, I ran supply chain for 12 different Fortune 200 global organizations for over 35 years. During my time, I delivered P&L of about 500 million US dollar, handled more than 50 manufacturing and warehousing sites, and running a team of more than 2,000 people. Worked in multiple countries to set up supply chain ecosystem, like implementing multiple ERPs, RFIDs, WMS networks, design pick and pack storage and shipping facilities. Very happy to be here with this absolutely super duper webinar today. Thank you very much, and back to you, Manoj ji.
Thank you. Dr. Manoj, you're next.
Thanks, Manoj. Namaskar सगळ्यांना. I am Manoj Kulkarni. I am based in Hong Kong. I have more than 35 years experience in supply chain management. Currently, I am working as a head of Asia supply chain of Johnson Electric, Hong Kong. And my main expertise is in establishing supply chain offices either from the scratch or converting them in an efficient organization. This for domestic companies as well as MNCs in India as well as in China. On academic side, I completed my doctorate in supply chain management, specifically in strategic sourcing few years back. So I am teaching in universities and delivering lectures on either supply chain management or Chinese industry, economy, and culture. I am involved in Garje Marathi's various initiatives from long time, including strategy formation. So I'm part for Garje Marathi. And today I'm looking for interesting discussion in this panel. So should we start?
Thank you. As for myself, I'm lifelong working in software development. I've been in California Bay Area for last 3 decades. Worked in enterprise software all my life, working on AI last many years. So I'm exposed to stringent demands of software and AI in enterprises in terms of reliability, in terms of accuracy, in terms of availability, in terms of quality. So with that, as you can see, we have an impressive panel of supply chain experts. Now before dive deeply, as you can see, each of the supply chain expert here have a different area of expertise. They have worked in different areas, and supply chain is a very vast area. So before we go deep dive, I would like each of the panelists to touch a deep, go a bit deep into their area of supply chain, what they deliver, and then we'll go from there. Dr. Manoj, you are the first one to go.
Once again, thanks, Manoj. As I mentioned earlier, I work for Johnson Electric. Now, we manufacture micro motors, pumps, relays, valves, engineering products. And we handle almost more than 70 commodities and 450 sub-commodities. Sub-commodity means plastic, rubber, and in that the grades, different grades are there, then each is called as a sub-commodity. We buy around 25,000 parts globally and from about more than 2,500 suppliers. So our raw materials include steel, resin, copper, aluminum, metal powders, chemicals, and components include bearing, magnet, or electronics components like PCBA. So there is a wide variety. Now we can easily classify this supply chain process into two areas. One is source to contract and the other is procure to pay. Today, let's focus first on source to contract or sourcing. Well, first stage of this process is identifying demand. So do we make some part in-house or buy, and what quantity? Now in today's volatile world, getting demand right is really challenging. Then comes engineering specifications. For example, you take the example of steel for housing. Which material, which coating, what thickness, what should be the coil width, and many other details need to be answered. Once you know that, then the sourcing comes and supplier selection. Now we can select from existing suppliers or we can go for the new supplier. And in the global environment, there can be hundreds of options. So we need accurate supplier evaluation information. Then comes pricing and cost breakdown. We need to work out the cost element of part to the details of raw material, labor, overhead, and everything. Then we negotiate with the supplier, finalize the price. And then comes contract management. While making contract with the suppliers, we need to ensure compliance with all the regulations. And lastly, we develop the sample with supplier. There will be some quality issues, technical problems that we have to sort out. And then the part is ready for regular supply. Now the question is, can AI help at each of these stages? And if yes, how? Let's discuss, but let's first understand from others what they do in specific, and we will come back to more details further.
Wow, Manojji, that's a true global operation. Amazing numbers. Vishakha you work in Dubai, major hub for petrochemicals. Tell us more about it.
Thank you, Dr. Manoj, for your precise view on the sourcing part of the supply chain, which naturally leads to my area of working, which is mainly procurement of raw materials. I understand your challenges are more due to multiple manufacturing locations and supply points. But applied of an SME, having a single manufacturing site is no less than yours, even we are based right here in Dubai. As I said, I worked in the master batch industry, and those who are not much familiar with the term master batch, these are color and additive concentrates which are used in every plastics. So even if you don't know the term, it's all around you. In all the plastics that you see, whether it is colored or looks natural, has a master batch in it. So now you can understand it's just not about the aesthetics or the visual appearance, but it is also about the functional requirements. Naturally, there are endless number of possibilities of combinations which you can make in the master batch. And naturally, that trickle downs to the complexity in the procurement of those raw materials. As Manojji said, yes, we have good proximity to polymer and petrochemical products, but this region lacks manufacturing of specialty chemicals, I would say. So 60 to 70% of our raw materials are import dependent. Plus, Dubai being a logistics hub, export to 50 to 60 countries makes the whole value chain complex and more prone to procurement or supply chain risks. Along with this, while navigating all these challenges, one important learning throughout my journey is the continuous learning, whether it's on the job or the formal academics. Actually, formal supply chain education helped me transition from a technical role to a commercial position during 2008 financial crisis. But that gave me better understanding of supply chain as a whole value chain, for which really helped me in future. And then I opted for MBA. That full academic education not only helped me navigate these challenges, but to approach them with more conviction. During the course of the webinar, we are surely going to discuss about Garje Marathi Global Initiative Academy's supply chain course. And I strongly believe that the structured education really helps. Whether you are from a supply chain background or not, it doesn't matter, because supply chain is not only the backbone of our businesses or industries, but now it has come to the doorstep of the common man. And I think nobody has realized it like never before during disruptions in last few years what we have seen. Thank you, Manoj.
Thank you, Vishakha ji, and thank you for emphasizing that the education and the continued education is a backbone of growth and prosperity. Sanjay ji, you have worked across many companies, you are a consulting part. We are eager to learn about your view of supply chain.
Thank you, Manoj. And yes, Vishakaji, lovely view of a procurement there. Supply chain is a much broader function, and then there are many areas depending on where you work and which function you drive, you can focus. My focus generally has been around inventory planning, inventory distribution, supply chain, S&OP. So I'll cover three areas quickly: demand planning and shaping. AI will enhance demand forecasting by analyzing data like the historical trend, market trends, external factors like economic changes, trade and tariff shifts. Advanced algorithms will identify patterns to predict demand more accurately, henceforth, helping companies align their inventory planning and product schedules with dynamic demand changes. Now, this is a fantastic utility that AI is providing us today. It will help to reduce excess inventory buildup and boost customer fulfillment because we'll be manufacturing correct grades and shipping what customer wants. Second area is S&OP execution. Remember, S&OP planning is on the left-hand side. Execution is a very core area. If you don't execute well, you may not get the fruits. AI will enhance sales and OP planning execution by providing real-time data and scenario planning, which is very critical. It can evaluate various supply and demand scenarios, helping businesses optimize resources, allocation, production schedules, and distribution planning in line with customer demand. Remember, in supply chain, anything we do is for customers. Manufacturing and planning is the third area. AI can streamline manufacturing processes by integrating data from various ERPs and local IT systems that helps factories to plan predictive maintenance, process optimization, and real-time production adjustments, resulting in greater efficiency, less machine downtime, and improved throughput quality for the customers. Back to you, Manoj.
Thank you, Sanjay ji. Rahul ji, I have seen your kiwi fruit. I have seen the Zespri brand. Really interested to learning what you do.
Thank you, Manoj. Like Sanjay ji says, if you don't execute, you don't get fruits. And we literally deal with the fruits in my business. But coming to logistics and warehouse management, I think this is the last leg of the supply chain before the product gets to the consumer. And in the advent of e-commerce and quick commerce, this has become a core of a function for certain industries. The function truly engages the last leg of the customers. And at Zespri, we manage more than 7 million fruits every year, utilizing a network of about 75 plus cold chain warehouses, and we deliver to about 50 different countries. To put that in perspective, it's nearly one fruit for every person on the planet. Huge numbers, but that just highlight the scale of our operations. In the fresh produce industry, maintaining quality throughout the entire supply chain is absolutely critical, especially since we're handling a living fruit. Cold chain integrity is essential, and the technological architecture that we employ is very foundational, providing us with the information that is needed to optimize every step of the supply chain. This ensures that our products remain fresh and safe for consumption right up to the moment they get to the hands of consumers. And like they say, if you're serving a larger purpose, along with what you're doing at a company, it just makes it that more satisfying. So Zespri is obviously committed to that broader purpose, supporting the United Nations Sustainable Goals 2 and 12, which is promoting good health and well-being, as well as sustainable consumption and production. Especially the goal 12.3 actually calls out to halve the per capita global food waste at the retail and consumer level and reduce the losses along production and supply chains, including the post-harvest losses by 2030. This is an area where technological advancements and AI will undoubtedly play a significant role in shaping the future of this industry, helping further reduce waste and enhance efficiency. Thank you.
Thank you, Rahulji. As you all can see, we have a truly diverse panel, different industries, different constraints, different scale, different customers. So we have heard what the supply chain is. Now, before we go into AI, the AI has to be applicable to their real problems, their daily lives. So what we are requesting our panelists is what you do in your typical day of your life. When you show up for the work, what are the top three things you mind? What keeps you awake? What are the metrics you are working on? What is the most worried thing? And if there is some areas that you wish to do, what are the things? So let's dive into their working day. Manojji, we are going to do it first.
Okay, I have already outlined our sourcing process. Now it's clear that navigating today's complexity requires constant proactive problem solving. So the core challenge lies in identifying the bottlenecks and removing barriers to ensure the seamless end-to-end flow. And what we do, my daily routine, or I will say not only daily, day and night routine, is to tackle this problem. And to tackle this, I utilize three pillar framework. It's simple one: data, process, and systems. Of course, anchored by a foundational fourth factor. Let's see about data. Data can be internal or external. It can be structured or it can be unstructured data. And this current VUCA environment, where we have volatility, we have uncertainty, we have complexity and ambiguity. And these are the norms now. So we need to improve data quality and ensure that we use the most up to date and accurate information. If you have that in place, you have conquered first stage. Second part is process. Now, internally, we are working on different processes, and we must adapt the procurement practices to align with the evolving product design and manufacturing shifts, updating SOPs to match our digitization efforts. And externally, we are navigating intense geopolitical restrictions, tariffs, compliance challenges. So often the bottleneck, what I observed is our processes simply cannot keep pace with this rapidly changing landscape or internal as well as external environment. And the third part is systems. This covers the spectrum from digitalization to now AI. With new tools emerging daily, the imperative of supply chain professional, I will say, is to effectively select those tools, study them, understand them, select them, implement, and leverage these technologies as much as possible. So these are the three pillars which I follow for my daily routine.
Dr. Manoj, in your introduction, you just mentioned that you are handling 70 commodities, 450 sub-commodities, 25,000 parts and 2,500 suppliers. Wow, it's massive number. And now I realize that you have multiple manufacturing locations and global supplier base. So how do you manage this complexity and propose to remove these barriers at Johnson Electric?
I think a very relevant question. We have almost 40 manufacturing locations across the world. So our data management journey began a decade ago. We are currently driving several digitization initiatives. It starts from ranging from ERP standardization to the development of Power BI dashboards and so on. We are also engaged in the continuous and admitted rigorous process of data cleansing, which is very important and which is the fundamental prerequisite for success. Beyond that, we have integrated AI for internal data analysis and now are building more advanced capabilities, including agentic AI leverages, where we want to use internal data as well as external data set both together. But there is some challenge in doing that, which currently trying to solve out. So this is what currently happening in JE, Johnson Electric.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manojji. Vishakha tell us how you manage your daily life.
For any supply chain professional, I think a typical day would always start with dashboards, be it stock position, sales forecast, or pending orders, and then align your priorities throughout the day. But I should mention that in SME, we are a step ahead and we are always in a constant war footing mode. So on any normal, so-called normal day, also we are on a war footing. So you can imagine now the current situation where we are in. So in SME, actually the operations are less siloed and internal communication, cross-functional coordination with manual intervention actually takes majority of your time, uh, of your working time. And then other than these internal coordination matters, your inbox is literally poured with supplier data, with documents, product related data. Sometimes these are intentionally requested, which are attended on priority. But many a times, all this data keeps on pouring because of the trade shows, big exhibitions, or even randomly suppliers keep on sending you their documents. But you hardly get time to scan through them, and they are all generally dealt on a need basis. The main pressure on a daily basis is managing sales expectation against the competition and handle the operational challenges. And as you know, for sales, it's always they are in the mode of ye dil mange more. So supply chain is, it's not like a linear activities where you just have to optimize and it's a linear flow of the work that you do. But it's all multi-dimensional balance act on the famous 5 R's of procurement, like quality, quantity, time, place, and not last but the list is price. So on all these multi-dimensional factors, your KPI is tested on every single day. So in this highly competitive environment, it's not only important that who reacts faster, but responding smarter and proactively is the key. This is what is my day throughout the
Wow,
week.
that's a stressful day. I had a question, but in the interest of time, I noticed that Sanjay ji also had a question, so I'm going to skip my question. Sanjay ji, go to your question.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much, Manoj. That was well said, Vishaka. Now the question is for SMEs generally, these are small players. What appetite or adoption that they have for technology in general and AI very specifically in terms of cost, quality, and their outreach?
Very important point, and thank you, Sanjay ji, for raising this point. See, as you know, SMEs, as SME, rather, we do not have army of people. And as I mentioned earlier, we are always on the war footing mode. And roles, because as I said, we don't have army of people, the roles often overlap. It is not siloed, as I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So this is where I think, AI can be an enabler, where it will help businesses to turn from a reactive mindset to a responsive and proactive mindset. As we all know, AI is already visible in many priority procurement areas like supplier selection or qualification or spend analysis, etc. But I would like to mention few less visible areas, rather the back end areas, which I call as soft powers, where we think that AI can be an enabler and actually empower people, and they can see AI as a co-pilot, not as a threat. So there are areas like regulatory compliance readiness or cost optimization, SOP management, or product scalability or standardization. I mean, industry to industry, it may differ, but these are few areas which I have come across where I think technology and AI particularly can be helpful. So if AI, if it strengthens this supporting or backend operation structures, then it can enable more informed front end decisions, and then we can have more reliable data more actionable data for improvement, which would be very helpful for an SME.
Thank you, Vishakha ji. We have a question on the chat, but in the interest of time, we are going to first finish the round and then we'll take the chat questions. Rahul ji, you are the next.
Thank you, Manoj. I think day in a life nowadays starts with looking at what is the next tweet from Trump and what does that mean for the business. But jokes apart, I think let me give you a glimpse of what a typical day looks like, for me. And what are the key drivers that kind of shapes our focus day to day. Obviously, the three financial metrics that matter most to me and to the organizations: cost of quality, cost to serve, and of course, the consumer satisfaction, especially when consumers are enjoying our kiwi fruits. Technology is an essential enabler for all of those, seamlessly supporting and amplifying our efforts. As Manoj pointed out, people and processes are at the heart of our success, and technology is the tool that empowers both to reach their full potential. In the world of fresh produce, warehouse isn't just a storage facility. I see it as a valuable data asset, capable of real-time two-way communication and optimization between the product and the environment in which the product is kept. The dynamic relationship ensures that the kiwi fruits leaving our warehouse deliver the best possible experience for our customers. A big part of my daily routine involves monitoring those KPIs, assessing our ongoing supply chain initiatives for the season, and ensuring that my team across the world remains motivated and aligned with our business objectives. Keeping everyone engaged and in high spirit is crucial for delivering results and maintaining our commitment to quality and service. Thank you.
Rahul, I have one question. We are talking about fresh product supply chain, but what are the key differences you see between fresh product and FMCG, which is again the major supply chain type?
Thank you, Manoj. And that's an interesting question because we are all familiar with FMCG supply chain, and sometimes the underlying fundamentals across the industries are similar. But just to be specific between fresh and FMCG, I think the cost to serve and cost of quality are tracked in both the supply chains. But since the fresh, you're handling a living product, you always need to do a trade-off between how much cost you will allow it to increase so that I get benefit on the cost of quality. As the value of the product is non-linear with time. For a Maggie, you can keep it for a month and the Maggie will remain same, but that is not the case with kiwi fruit. In 1 month, you will have a different fruit. And the second, I think the big difference being you're not working for a private enterprise, you're working for a cooperative where the shareholders are your growers, your farmers, not some invisible financial institutions. And that puts an extra layer of pressure for you to make sure that you don't waste the fruit in your supply chain.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rahul. Can you quickly tell, given that you have a limited shelf life, what are the technologies you are experimenting with?
I mean, the other area which is actually challenging in fresh produce is to be able to forecast the supply that is available for the season. How many mango trays or how many kiwi fruit trays I'm going to get. It's not like manufacturing where you actually have facts on what is the production. Because these orchards are actually spread around thousands of hectares. And in this industry, we still have a lot of people going physically in these orchards, taking samples to estimate the size of the fruit, the numbers of the fruit, and basically aggregating all of that information to come up with an available supply for the season. Now we're trying to experiment mapping these orchards digitally, monitoring the progress with automated mini trucks, which kind of go through those orchards, take millions of pictures, heat maps, and convert them into a reliable supply forecast. This is a journey, it takes longer time. We've already invested few years into this, but something that I think will get better with the advancement in AI and technology.
Thank you. Sanjay ji, you have worked across many companies. You are consulting. You have seen Fortune 200 companies. We are eager to learn from you.
Lovely. So thank you, Manojji. Before that, I'll quickly go back to Dr. Manojji's first question to Rahulji, and Rahulji answered it well. I would like to add to that what Rahulji said was, I worked in two different companies for consumer product, Dr. Manoj, and then one customer can buy a chocolate and eat 3 times, but the same customer will take a knee or a knee joint and fix it for 10, 15 years. Same customer, two custom consumer product, one supply chain is very different, one supply chain is very different. So we need to configure the data, right? So coming to the point of day in my life, probably most of the time that I have spent in my company as well as the companies that I deal with is on data analysis and harmonization. And actually, Dr. Manoj talked about data harmonization. Planners dedicate most of their time today in understanding the data, which comes from many, many systems. Now, AI has this fantastic ability to integrate all this data and convert into intelligent analytics. Now, organizations have raw data. They may not be aware where it comes from. But once you have a technological help, you can get data from all the sources and make sure that you convert into intelligent analytics to take informed decisions. Also, the second area which goes along with the data is use that data and create to be scenarios for future. What happens if we, God forbid, but we have another COVID-like attack or we have another war happening? Now, how do we handle that? The to be scenarios when supply chain planners work on managing that dynamic changes and building that into your supply chain to make it more resilient. And God forbid, if those events happen really, then you're always prepared because you have the to be scenarios in front of you to take the action. By this, the company actually remains very agile and ready to spring back into action and make sure that the customer gets the product, like what the entire supply chain did during COVID time. Remember, the food supplies, the grocery supplies kept on coming back. And that is the power of supply chain when we spend time day to day on looking at your data, harmonizing it, and converting the raw data into intelligent analytics to take decisions. Back to you, Manoj.
Thank you. So this is a classical example of data harmonization across sales, marketing, finance, production. I want inclusive forecast. I want inclusive plan. This is where I think AI can help. Just give it your 1 minute thoughts on that part. Sanjay.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were asking. So, in the next couple of years, we will see that most organizations will be able to enhance supply chain efficiency by improving demand forecasting, optimizing inventory management, and streamlining logistics, right? For example, Amazon is using today AI to predict demand shifts and adjust their inventory management in a way that they're able to deliver the customer products at the speed literally of light, as they say. Back to you, Manoj.
Rahulji, you had a question.
Yeah, that's a good brief, Sanjay ji, on how the scenario planning. But if you can elaborate how this to be scenario planning enhances the company's dynamics, supply and demand plans.
Excellent. And also this is such an apt thing because even though we talk about it, I haven't really seen many organizations do scenario planning consistently enough because we just lose the sight of the futuristic part of it because of the day-to-day activities that we are involved in. Now, how does to be supply chain helps you? It makes your organization a bit more flexible with the risk analysis in front of you. And we can use many techniques. The two techniques that predominantly are very common if you have systems or you're doing it manual is SWOT analysis. And second one is the Monte Carlo methodologies to simulate future scenarios. Planners can make use of these to identify risk in the future, identify opportunities, and enabling quick pivots when demand or the supply value shift for any reason, for seasonality, for any other dynamic factors. This proactive method keeps the company agile and enhances their execution as well as their resource allocation, which is such a critical thing for us to manage our people in case these scenarios really happen. Back to you, Manoj.
Great. Thank you all for your perspective of day of life. We have a few questions on the chat. I'm going to take one of them. Dr. Barke asked to Dr. Kulkarni, how many tiers of supply chain do you have visibility?
This is a very good question. And now what is happening is because of the wars or geopolitical friction, some companies or some countries, the customers are asking to go back to tier 4 or tier 5. I will give you
Yes.
what it means. You are making some stamping component. Now this stamping component is made up of steel. So you should know the steel manufacturer. If you are the steel manufacturer is buying some iron ore from the supplier, then you should know the iron ore supplier. This iron ore is coming from some mine of iron, so you should know the iron. So minimum 4 layers of suppliers or tiers we should know, and we are working on this for last few years, but it is becoming more and more demanding information from the customer. This is basically for geopolitical issues.
Thank you. We have a few more questions on chat, but in the interest of time, we are going to go to the next round, and time permitting, we'll try our best to take the interest of chat. Now that we have understood supply chain basics, now we have seen what their day in life means. Now let's take the next topic. Where does AI helps us? So before we go to each of the supply chain panelists, I'm going to give my perspective of AI because I have worked on the AI software side, AI enterprise side. So to make AI successful, what I see as it has a three pillar, what we call is a 3P: people, process, and platform. The first priority and the most ignored priority is the people. When you think of any AI initiative, think of your daily users, think of your end users, think of your stakeholders. Who is going to approve it? Who is going to be on the line when the AI project goes online? It's successful or bad. Involve them from the get-go of the project. Don't start a AI project, then don't go to the end user or the stakeholders at the end. This will ensure that not only you gain your confidence, your domain expertise, because AI is a technology. Unless it is matched with the domain expertise, unless it's matched with the daily business requirements, unless it's matched with the nuances that each of our panelists told, and they have decades of experience, the marriage of AI to domain expertise and business skills is an absolute must for AI to succeed beyond a proof of concept. Second thing, as you engage with your stakeholders and daily users, make sure that you address their concerns, their questions. Hey, what about AI governance? Will the AI agent go wild? What about data risk? Will the data leak? And last but not least, the elephant in the room sometimes is, will there be job loss? Will the AI automation will impact our jobs? So when you start AI projects, make sure that you take these topics as first class topics. Have this along with your technology. Technology is only a part of AI project adoption. These are all the key part. Last but not least, for the people, make sure that you invest enough time, energy, and resources, skills upgrade. The second P is the process. Now, a lot of things, hey, I can bring AI and change the business process. That's not the correct way. AI serves the business process, not the other way. So make sure that when you think of AI, think of which business processes you are going to apply. Is this a critical business process? Is this a non-critical business process? And AI is a tool for business process, not the otherwise. Second part of the process is when people think of AI and then say, oh my God, AI is going to run all automation, all decision making, it's going to go crazy, we are going to lose control. That's not the case. Even in agentic AI, which is the hot topic, you can have a very well controlled agentic AI that does all the heavy lifting, that keeps human in the control for verification, for confirmation, and critical decision making. And some of the topics that may be applicable to like Vishakha ji is automated document scanning and compliance and vendor processing. So let the AI agent do all the scanning, Experts like Vishakha ji can still confirm is the AI working correctly. They can still take the decisions. They can process the exceptions. And that is the marriage where AI and humans work together is going to be a successful model for AI adoption. Third part is if you are new to AI, start with a business process that is not the most critical business process, that is not the most high risk. Gain some confidence by starting a business process that has a lower risk, but that can still demonstrate a value of AI. Like again, I will come to the document scanning, data harmonization, right? Gain some confidence, gain some knowledge, learn the value of AI, learn where AI has boundaries, show it to your end user, show it to your stakeholders, and let them understand what AI does, and then start going to the high stake business cases. The third P is the platform, and platform means technology. But let me warn you, AI doesn't mean just the AI technology. The two advices that I would like to suggest people is you have to think of right tool for the right problem. Generative AI or the large language models, they are all in the news, but they are not necessarily the best tool in all cases. You have classical machine learning models. Sanjay ji mentioned Monte Carlo methods, right? You may have other statistical methods. If these are working well, leverage them, extend them. Right tool for the right choice, not a hype, not just I want to use AI, that's why I will use AI. Second, and the most important part for platform, AI is as good as your data. So when you think of AI platform, think of your data platform. Is your current data platform robust? Do you have supply? Do you have data pipeline robust? Is it clean? Do you have confidence in your data? Ignore about AI. If you have confidence in data, you have a reasonable assurance that AI will do a good job. If you have concerns about data pipelines, please invest time, resources to make sure your data pipelines are robust, data is clean, harmonized across all the industries, all the suppliers, all the data sources. And if you think that you are laying a good foundation for AI projects to start and add value to that part. So that's a technologist perspective of what AI can do. Now let's hear from Rahulji, where he thinks the AI is going to add value.
Thank you, Manoj ji. I think it's good that you have outlined the process and how we should actually engage the AI in your business. But for me, like I say, I want to share a pretty bold vision that ties directly into one of the values that we truly cherish at Zespri, called leaving a legacy. I'm passionate about building an end-to-end supply chain architecture that allows us to predict the quality of our food at every touch point, right down to each pallet, tray, and even at individual fruit. Imagine a system so precise that not a single kiwi fruit is wasted throughout the supply chain. It's an ambitious goal, no doubt, but one that could redefine excellence in the fresh produce industry. Achieving this vision is only possible with the cutting-edge technology as a foundation. We need to weave a seamless web of temperature sensors, airflows, ethylene monitors in our warehouses, identifying the black spots, those tricky areas where the fruit quality might be at risk. By feeding this real-time information into our automated management storage systems, we can ensure that every pallet is always placed in the optimal location, keeping our kiwi fruit as fresh as possible from harvest to delivery. I think this is where the AI becomes the key enabler, integrating data from harvest quality, storage, shipping, in transit environments to make a dynamic real time prediction about the shelf life and quality. Basically, this can help us with four things. One, shelf life prediction and waste reduction matrix. The second is the cold chain compliance and any deviations. Third is being able to prioritize inventory in a way that the fruit gets eaten in a better condition. The last one is around quality-based routing and allocation decisions, at a geography level, at a customer level. At its core, AI helps move the supply chain from reactive to predictive, reducing waste, improving consistency, and unlocking value across the entire network.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Rahulji. Sanjay ji, from your vantage point of consultant and global traveler, tell us where AI helps.
Lovely. So first, I want to congratulate Rahulji for making this statement from reactive, right, to predictive, and that is what supply chain is moving, Manojji. We have seen supply chain being termed logistics 10 years back, which is moving boxes now, to actually a cost center. And now, since COVID, we realize that it is actually a profit center if you align it that way. And as Rahulji clearly mentioned, right, it is now from performance to profits. And that is what AI is helping organization in terms of crunching the data, getting the visibility of the customer. And as Barke sir asked the question, what is the level of visibility? Now it is providing visibility until 4 level backwards and until 3 level forwards into your channel, into a channel distribution. And that is the power of the data. I'm working right now with an electronics company, which is a $27 billion company with 150,000 SKUs. And we just kind of integrated for last 1 year machine learning software for their forecasting. And with that, they're able to actually use 150 parts across 500 vendors in 30 geographies, and that has boosted their forecasting accuracy or reduced the forecasting bias actually from 50% to over 75% over a time frame of 18 months, which is a great progress from performance to profits. The second one, as Monoji, you yourself talked about the platform, something that I have been helping a lot of tier 1 and tier 2 manufacturers in the electronic and pharma ecosystem is aligning your product ABC classification with your customer ABC classification. And I'm assuming that everybody knows ABC classifications, right? 50%, 30, 20% of your products bring in 80% of revenue, so on and so forth. Now, when you're able to align your class A products to your class A customers, you know your pricing profile and your inventory profile, and then you can reduce noise into your supply chain. Now, these values are not static and they can change from organization to organization. But this approach helps prioritize resources and efforts towards the most valuable customers and profitable products for the organization. And that's exactly what Rahulji also said from a perishable perspective. Back to you, Manojji.
Thank you, Sanjay ji. Manoj ji, you're next.
Oh, I think the our discussion is becoming more and more interesting as we are going deep. Rahul mentioned about end-to-end supply chain. Just one point here. When I was doing my research and my thesis, I was developing one construct, information flow performance. And then information flow performance, which are the critical success factor. Now you can align with that with AI. AI is going to be that information flows performance factor or that, and that how it improves the performance of the supply chain and company. So that's one
Yes.
part. Another thing is reactive to predictive. This is the another point he mentioned, and Manoj ji and Sanjay ji mentioned about all about data. Now I will come back to my process, sourcing process, and I will take just one example, that is the supplier selection. So supplier selection is very critical because you don't know that time what is going to happen in the next, but you have your prediction should be such a way that you should select the right supplier. And currently, what is happening? I know I just explained about the complexity in our company. And so we are constantly scouting for new partners who can offer superior technology, better cost efficiency, as well as recent geopolitical instability like Ukraine war, Iran war has made supply chains increasingly volatile. So new trade restrictions are there. Shifting regulations means what? The data required await supplier changes almost daily. And here AI can play critical role in various areas only for supply chain selection also. First thing is segment your supply base. You can automatically classify preferred supplier or approved supplier, strategic supplier. Second thing is optimize sourcing, aggregating data on potential new partners to ensure that they meet our rigorous standards. If you do this work properly, in future there will be the smooth supply chain you can have. And the third thing is that what enhanced decision making. So synthesizing internal performance metrics with external market intelligence and to get precise 360-degree view of supplier capabilities. So by comparing these data points, we ensure that we select the right partners for the live locations. This is just one example how AI can be integrated into the life cycle of subsourcing. But I think in our upcoming Garje Marathi's course on end-to-end supply chain management, we will explore these applications across every stage of the chain in much more detail. So back to Manoj ji.
Thank you, Manoj ji. Vishakha ji, please tell us where you see AI adding value.
As I mentioned in my earlier segments, I would uh, like to elaborate more on the soft powers that I mentioned at the back end areas. Out of 5 to 6 points that I mentioned earlier, I would like to take two important points which I feel are more to be attended on priority. The first is product regulatory compliance readiness. Because now, as in everybody's talk, we could see that we don't know what will happen tomorrow, how the regulations will change, how you have to work across different geographies due to uh, disruptions that are happening, geopolitical issues. So every time you have to be ready with all the data, especially I'm talking about the product related compliance data. So, because EU norms are changing, so SVHC list, the list of high concern materials, that is getting updated very frequently, and our product data has to keep pace with that. At the same time, third-party lab approvals or third-party testings, lab testings, they are increasing. So every declaration has to be backed by the proper supporting documents. We also deal with lot of huge volumes of SDS, which is earlier everybody must be familiar with the term MSDs in the chemical industry, which is not only useful for health safety, but it also is required for your logistics or custom clearances. And monitoring all that data manually is a very tedious job. It's not only tedious job manually giving that much of time, but it's also risky because you might miss some details. So there I think one area where AI can help in scanning the multiple supplier documents, identify missing informations or flag the compliance gaps. And it can also track the document validity, which is very important, and then send reminder to suppliers for the updated documents. But here I see that compliance is not only about the risk reduction, but I also see a positive side in the as a business advantage, because manually when you scan a document you will only look what is required for you, but you might miss other positive points which are applicable to that document. So if AI identifies that, that can increase the applicability of the product across different or new geographies, which you can propose as an advantage to marketing team. And another important point which I would like to mention is about the cost reduction or cost avoidance. Many of the out of box decisions, at different levels are taken, which that time you just take it as exceptions and move ahead, because they are mainly situation based, but they are never recorded, or many a times I think they don't even reflect, because they don't even reflect in the directly in P&L. Management doesn't even realize the importance and time and effort that goes behind. So if this and they are not usually linked with any KPIs. So if we can start recording this in decisions, these immediate initiatives, and convert them into immediate KPIs, then I think, as I mentioned earlier, if AI is empowering human, so the same case I would apply here. So it will not only boost the proactive approach, but will also change the mindset of people working at the back end, who will see AI as a co-pilot, again, as I mentioned earlier. And as everybody in the health and safety areas, they know that you always record near misses to avoid future accidents. So similarly, I see these cost avoidance initiatives, which if recorded can be always helpful in future actual cost savings, which are visible KPIs. So this is how I look at it. These are the two areas which I think are important, and which will where definitely AI can help us.
Amazing. As our audience and myself have learned, there is so much opportunity on each of the areas. And this is the opportunity for supply chain students, supply chain professional, AI students, AI professionals to learn. Before we go to our next topic, I'll take a question from Dr. Barke on the chat. Rahulji, I'll target this question to you because it mentions about temperatures and logics. So do you use AI for transportation visibility, identifying shipments, bottlenecks? How do you integrate with service providers, shipping lines, 3PL, temperature control visibility? And given your product is sensitive, please tell us about it.
Thank you, Manoj, and thank you, Dr. Burke, for your question. Yes, absolutely. We didn't used to call it AI back then when we started using. This is started as a blockchain concept. So there are a lot of tools which were developed for managing the shipping visibility. So we use Project 44 as the tool, which is basically addressing the first part of your question. It gives me visibility on what is happening with the ships, those sensors that we have on the ships, in a way connect with the transponders, on the ship, and it actually gives us a view on the actions that we need to take as an organization depending on what is happening in transit. The second part, which is not yet fully integrated, is around the temperature control and visibility. So we install our own sensors in one sensor in every 5 pallets that we ship. So those sensors are live capturing that data and on a daily basis, in a way, uploading that data to the servers that we monitor. But I see a scope in that function and how can we make it more live, and how do we, in a way, introduce a two-way mechanism where if I see something, I'm able to influence the environment in the transit. So that's probably, the next in the future. So thank you.
Thank you. This has been a great discussion. I learned so much. I really hope our audience got a lot of value from supply chain, global perspective, all of that. Now, before we let our panelists go, I would like to have one key takeaway from each of them. If they want to leave the audience with one sentence, what would that be? And this is the famous lightning round. Sanjay ji, you are the first one. Unmute your phone.
Sorry. So AI is transforming organizational processes, how the business is engaging with the customers, enhancing people skills through personalized interaction and boosting customer satisfaction. I saw two remarks in our chats from Mr. Chandramouli and Mr. Borkar talking about whether AI will satisfy customers and will be able to train our employees. And I'm saying over the past decade, we have integrated technology 80% on the job and 20% while learning. Back to you, Manoj.
Rahul ji, you're next.
Thank you, Sanjay ji. That's well said. I think the simple point to me is the technology will absolutely continue to create a value as business and functional leaders remain open-minded and deliberately guided in the right direction, ensuring that it not only serves the enterprise but also serves the larger human purpose. Thank you.
Vishakha ji, what's your last suggestion?
My take after today's discussion would be digitalization is a marathon and not a sprint, that everyone should understand. And I think the leaders who can visualize end-to-end supply chain along with, improve internal capabilities and anticipate disruptions can definitely thrive in this VUCA world.
Manoj ji, you are next.
In closing, my message is keep it simple, make it simple. As VUCA drivers make supply chains increasingly complex, we must use AI to streamline processes, reduce friction, and transform raw information into timely, actionable decisions. Of course, supported by high quality data and the right people. That's the thing.
Thank you. My last message to audience is AI is delivering real value when aligned with three P's: people, process, and platform. Use AI to amplify your human capabilities. Use AI to increase your business compliance. With that, we are wrapping the panel, but hold on, there is more, right? This is not just a one and done talk. As our esteemed panelist said, we have some call to action for you. GMG is a great community to join. We would like you to join Garje Marathi community. Go to Garje Marathi community, be a member. The membership is free. Second, more important, we have a great supply chain course being assembled by this panelist and others. Look out for the announcements on Garje Marathi LinkedIn publishing and Garje Marathi publishing Gaurav to look at the supply chain management course. I think that is going to be a great resource, not just for supply chain professionals, but also for students and for people like me who are AI practitioners, but who want to understand what the supply chain possibilities are. So with that, please keep us engaged. Please engage with us. Now, this all talk, hopefully we liked it. This is not been possible without great support and other background people who have done a lot. So thank you, Garje Marathi, for fantastic chat, fantastic logistics. Anand Ganu and Madhav Dapke, your brainchild of GMG Select Talk. This is not just the start of something. I think this is going to be a fabulous series and amazing number of people are going to benefit. Thank you for that. Last but not least, Prasad Daflapurkar, Mandar Mure and Manasi Joshi, they work relentlessly on the background to help all the webinar aspect. So thank you all of them. Thank you everybody. And of course, my dear panelists, the great thank you to you. We prepared a lot. I think this is my thank you to you. And finally, thank you to all the audience for joining us, being part of this webinar. We would like to see you engaged. Keep us engaged. Let's continue this momentum. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you
Bye.
so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.